YouTube, welcome back. If you chose a good starter build that's stock standard and you're racing to level 100, congratulations. I hope you're having tons of fun. I am playing a build that had a miserable leveling experience for the first hour of gameplay. However, after that point of time, we had a pretty good leveling experience. So I put out a video previously talking about how I was planning on starting the 1.1 patch with a Serpent Strike, Serpent Venom, Poison, one stack ailment, damage over time thing as a Swarmblade character, as a druid. Yeah, so the leveling was very painful, but I want to talk a little bit about the build real quick. So the leveling, we did Thorn Totem and it was miserable, but as soon as we got to Swarmblade form and we got those points into our druid skill tree, the build, I want to say overperformed because I wasn't expecting much and it seems quite good. It's a playstyle that I'm familiar with because it feels very similar to like Lightning Swarmblade, Lightning Bug if you played those kinds of builds in the past. And it scales off just the weirdest things. I'm going to pull up a Google document real quick that we put together trying to figure out how much damage we deal because we don't really have a good source of like a tooltip that we can hold our alt over in game. So we scale off like poison stacks, frostbite stacks on the enemy, percent increased poison damage, percent increased damage over time, strength, vitality, dexterity, melee critical strike chance, maelstrom average stacks we have on our character, and then penetration that we have. And then penetration also from like the poisons that we apply to the enemies. So I think my damage right now is about 160k, but we scale like all of these, most of these are more multipliers. And we're so early on in our character, only level 77. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a ton of fun to build this character. Just like building critical strike chance, melee crit, flat crit, using these rings has been better than I thought it was going to. I don't know if I realized in the past that Swarmblade form has a minion tag so that these things give plus levels to Swarmblade form. I may have realized that, but they do. And they're so much better than my brain was telling me. We just finished being live for about 9 hours on Twitch, so I'm a little bit tired, but having +2 to your primary skill and then also flat critical strike chance that gets scaled off of all your increased crit and using something like a Peak of the Mountain for more increased crit. And that is a more multiplier, which is nuts. If I get a diamond shrine or whatever the shrine is that gives you a guaranteed critical strike chance, it about triples my damage, which is awesome. A couple notable things for like my particular spec of this build. We did a comparison of Thorn Totem and how many stacks of poison it adds on average, compared to the flat critical strike chance that you get from Spriggan. I did not compare, her also applying other ailments. I only did it considering the critical strike chance. And the Thorn Totem seemed about twice as good. Yeah. This I'm so tired. This build has been fun so far. It's pretty quick. It as the critical strike chance and the poison chance appears on your items, you just kind of like tap a pack of enemies, tap a pack of enemies, tap a pack of enemies. Early on in the progression of this character, especially for anyone else who's trying to play this, we definitely leaned on Swarm Strike, which is a really, really strong way of leveling any Swarmblade character because it has so much damage built into it. So you'll see, like, I'll be walking around. Oh, I guess I should click different buttons, shouldn't I? I'll be walking around as a Swarmblade like this, and I'll put down some of these little things, and eventually, as I walk forward, these things will come out. These little locusts, and like if I walk up to an enemy, I'll consume them, and I'll make this little swirly damage around myself. So that thing has really high base damage. You're going to be using 2 weapons that have base damage on them as well. Like you'll be punching enemies, with your own base damage. So this, having the Swarm Strike going around your character is a great way of like transitioning into this build because we're kind of scaling weird stuff at first. I like it so far. I'm actually excited. The fact that we get to scale more damage off vitality seems great. The fact that we get all these more multipliers down here and like even against like high health of everything gets doubled. It's been good so far. I'm currently considering Swarmblade form converting all the dodge into armor. I might get flat dodge on my gear. So the flat dodge got removed off of Serpent Strike and off of Maelstrom. We get some flat dodge if we can reach all the way over here per cold resistance. But like just building flat dodge on our gear and getting percent increased from like sleet-footed and percent more off of the slither node here that just got changed in patch 1.1. Converting that into armor and then using that to fuel less damage over time taken percentage of your armor, like the glove affix and like the glove prefix and the glove implicit, both of those. Seems like a good way of like turning your armor into dot mitigation. So that's the current plan. I like what's going on here, and it overperformed because I wasn't expecting much. So I like it. We're gonna play more of it. I'll see you next time.